For generations, Atlantis has stood as one of the most enduring enigmas in human history. Plato described it as a mighty empire that vanished in a single night, leaving scholars and explorers debating its reality for thousands of years. Yet Atlantis is just one of many forgotten civilizations. All around the globe, ancient ruins challenge what we think we know about the past. Despite their differences, they share a single theme. Each was lost to time. From vast underground cities to massive stone structures that defy explanation, these places raise deep questions about the people who built them and the reasons they ultimately disappeared. In this documentary, we will journey through these forgotten civilizations, whether known only through myth or rediscovered by archaeologists. Together, we'll explore what these ruins reveal to modern science and how much of humanity's true past still lies hidden. The story of Atlantis has captivated thinkers, researchers, and adventurers for ages. Our primary source comes from the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who wrote about Atlantis in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias around 360 BC. Plato described Atlantis as a powerful island nation that existed many thousands of years before his own time. He placed it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the ancient name for the Strait of Gibraltar. The island, according to him, supported a highly developed society blessed with fertile land, abundant natural resources, and a flourishing economy. Its people excelled in engineering, agriculture, and military strategy. With an impressive navy, they sought to extend their reach across Europe and North Africa. Plato's depiction of the capital city was extraordinary. It consisted of concentric circles of land and water, forming a natural defensive layout. At its heart stood a massive temple dedicated to Poseidon, the deity the Atlanteans revered. Inside, a gigantic statue portrayed Poseidon riding a chariot pulled by winged horses. The surrounding walls were constructed using white, red, and black stone, and strengthened with bronze, tin, and the legendary metal orichalcum. Broad canals linked different areas of the city, making transportation and trade both efficient and advanced. For many generations, Atlantis thrived under a set of laws designed to uphold justice and harmony. But over time, its citizens became driven by greed and the desire for power. They launched campaigns to conquer surrounding lands, even attempting to invade ancient Athens. Their defeat marked the beginning of their collapse. According to the story, the gods punished their arrogance with catastrophic earthquakes and floods. Within a single day and night, Atlantis sank beneath the ocean and was lost forever. Plato's writings continue to spark debate about whether Atlantis was a historical civilization or a metaphor. Many believe Plato intended it as a philosophical warning about corruption and unchecked ambition. Others argue that his detailed descriptions of geography, architecture, and political structure hint at memories of a real place. He wrote that Atlantis disappeared 9,000 years before the time of Solon, a respected Athenian statesman from the 6th century BC. This would place the fall of Atlantis roughly 11,600 years ago, coinciding with dramatic global climate shifts at the end of the last ice age. According to Plato, Solon learned of Atlantis from Egyptian priests in the city of Sais, who claimed their civilization had preserved records of an ancient war between early Athens and Atlantis. Interestingly, civilizations across the world, from Mesopotamia to India, share stories of devastating floods that destroyed entire societies. Geologically, this era aligns with the Younger Dryas, a sudden cooling event that began nearly 12,800 years ago and lasted more than a millennium. During this time, glaciers expanded, global temperatures dropped sharply, and Earth entered a prolonged cold phase. The cause of this abrupt climate shift is still uncertain. Some scientists propose changes in ocean circulation or volcanic eruptions. Another theory, known as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, suggests that a comet or its fragments struck Earth, igniting widespread fires and filling the atmosphere with debris that blocked sunlight, further cooling the planet. Around 11,600 years ago, matching Plato's timeline, the climate abruptly warmed again. This period, known as Meltwater Pulse 1b, rapidly melted ice sheets and caused sea levels to rise dramatically. Coastal regions would have been flooded, and any settlements near the shores would have vanished beneath the rising oceans. Plato's statement that Atlantis was destroyed in a single day and night of misfortune aligns closely with this period of sudden environmental upheaval. Some believe his account may echo ancient memories of real geological catastrophes. Yet despite countless theories and searches, no conclusive evidence of Atlantis has ever been found. The idea that Atlantis was not alone is widely explored. If immense flooding occurred at the end of the Ice Age, other early civilizations may have suffered the same fate. Several ancient religious texts describe worldwide floods that parallel geological findings. One of the most famous is the biblical story of Noah, which describes rising waters that covered the earth, sparing only a small number of survivors. But this narrative isn't unique. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest surviving texts, tells of a flood that destroyed an advanced civilization. Hindu traditions speak of pralaya, a cyclical event in which the world is repeatedly wiped out by water before emerging anew. Despite originating in different regions, these stories share remarkable similarities. Some researchers believe they might be recounting the same real event from multiple cultural viewpoints. Archaeological findings add further intrigue. Ruins have been located underwater in several parts of the world, prompting speculation that ancient coastal settlements really did sink beneath rising seas. While some formations are natural, others strongly resemble human-made structures. One well-known example is the Bimini Road, discovered near the Bahamas in 1968. This underwater feature consists of large flat stone blocks arranged in a straight line, leading some to believe it may be the remains of an ancient wall or roadway. Supporters point to its alignment and the shape of the stones as evidence of deliberate construction. However, geological studies lean toward a natural explanation. Most experts consider the Bimini Road to be beach rock, limestone formed in shallow waters that later fractured into rectangular slabs. Core samples support this, showing layers typical of natural rock formation. No tools, carvings, or artifacts have been discovered to confirm human involvement. Structures like this appear in several locations worldwide. Another compelling example is the lost city of Dwarka off India's western coast. Hindu texts describe Dwarka as a splendid city ruled by Krishna, renowned for its grand buildings, fortified walls, and active marketplaces. According to legend, the city eventually sank beneath the ocean. For centuries, this was regarded as myth. But in 2001, marine archaeologists uncovered submerged ruins near present-day Dwarka. These included foundations, pillars, and walls that matched ancient descriptions. Some structures were dated to over 9,000 years old, making them among the oldest underwater ruins known. This discovery led some researchers to suggest that ancient civilizations may have been more advanced than previously believed, capable of building sophisticated cities long before the earliest recorded history. Findings like these support the idea that rising seas at the end of the Ice Age may have swallowed early coastal settlements. Many areas that once supported human life thousands of years ago now lie underwater, potentially concealing more traces of forgotten civilizations. The extreme climate fluctuations of the Younger Dryas, along with rapid glacial melt, likely caused major upheavals for early human populations. Although evidence for advanced societies before the Ice Age remains unproven, some scholars suggest that groups who survived these environmental cataclysms adapted, migrated, and established new settlements. Interestingly, some of the earliest known post-Ice Age communities emerged close to the region where Atlantis was allegedly located. One of the most groundbreaking archaeological finds of the modern world is Göbekli Tepe, situated in southeastern Turkey. The site first drew attention in the 1960s when researchers noticed large stone shapes emerging from the soil. At that time, it was misidentified as an ancient burial ground, and excavations stopped. Then, in 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began full-scale excavations, and the discoveries that followed transformed our understanding of early human development. Göbekli Tepe consists of enormous limestone pillars, some exceeding 5 meters in height and weighing over 20 tons. These pillars are arranged in circular patterns, with the tallest positioned at the center. They are adorned with carvings of animals, such as lions, boars, snakes, and vultures, alongside abstract symbols whose meanings remain unclear. Some of the artwork is carved in high relief, demonstrating remarkable craftsmanship. Notably, there is no evidence of homes or daily living structures, leading experts to believe this site was built for ceremonial or religious purposes rather than habitation. Radiocarbon dating places the earliest construction phases around 9,600 BC, making Göbekli Tepe over 12,000 years old. This earns it the title of the world's oldest known megalithic complex, older than Stonehenge by 6 millennia, and predating the first cities of Mesopotamia by thousands of years. The fact that such an extraordinary site was built during the Neolithic era, before widespread farming, poses significant challenges to conventional archaeological theories. Traditional thinking suggests that complex architecture, social hierarchy, and organized labor only emerged after humans began farming and living in permanent settlements. Yet Göbekli Tepe implies that monumental construction may have come first, potentially even encouraging early humans to organize and develop agriculture as a result. This site may represent a turning point in the evolution of human society. Another intriguing aspect of Göbekli Tepe is that it was intentionally buried. Massive amounts of soil and debris were piled over the structures, which ultimately preserved them for millennia. The purpose behind this deliberate burial remains unknown. Some scholars believe the builders attempted to protect the site, while others suggest that changing beliefs or cultural practices led to its abandonment and concealment. In broader discussions, some researchers have connected Göbekli Tepe to the legend of Atlantis. Plato described Atlantis as an advanced society lost in a great flood, and according to his timeline, this destruction occurred around the same era that Göbekli Tepe was being built. This has led to speculation that survivors of a forgotten pre-Ice Age culture may have migrated to new regions, bringing their knowledge to early communities across Anatolia and beyond. Another theory, developed by certain historians and archaeologists, explores a possible link between Atlantis and the origins of early Egyptian civilization. According to this viewpoint, if Atlantis truly existed, its survivors may have traveled across the ancient world, carrying advanced knowledge with them. Egypt, one of Earth's first highly developed societies, may have retained fragments of this lost wisdom in its astronomy, architecture, and religious traditions. Ancient Egyptian writings describe an era before the first pharaohs, ruled by semi-divine beings called the Shemsu Hor, or followers of Horus. These accounts claim these rulers came from a distant land and governed Egypt for thousands of years before the start of the dynastic period. Some researchers interpret these stories as symbolic memories of an earlier civilization that influenced Egypt's rise. One of the most debated parts of this theory involves the Great Sphinx of Giza. Mainstream archaeologists date the Sphinx to around 2500 BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafra. However, geologist Robert Schoch and others argue that the heavy erosion patterns on the Sphinx indicate long-term exposure to significant rainfall. Since Egypt's last period of intense rainfall ended near the end of the Ice Age, around 10,000 BC, this theory suggests the Sphinx might be far older than traditionally believed. Supporters further point to the astronomical alignment of the Giza pyramids. The arrangement of the pyramids of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure resembles the 3 stars of Orion's belt. This idea, known as the Orion correlation theory, was introduced by researcher Robert Bauval in the 1990s. Bauval argued that the pyramids were built to reflect the position of these stars as they appeared around 10,500 BC. Bauval's interpretation is based on the connection between the constellation Orion and the god Osiris, the ruler of the afterlife.
The temple grows.
Ancient texts indicate that pharaohs believed they would join Osiris among the stars after death. Advocates of the theory believe the pyramid alignment symbolically linked the pharaoh's tombs to the heavens, reinforcing their divine role. Additionally, the precision of the pyramid's construction remains extraordinary. The Great Pyramid's alignment with the cardinal directions is nearly perfect, deviating by less than 0.05 degrees. Achieving such accuracy without modern instruments has sparked debate about how this knowledge developed, and whether it may have been inherited from an earlier, forgotten culture. While mainstream archaeology credits these achievements to the ingenuity of ancient Egyptians themselves, the possibility of earlier influences continues to be explored. Egypt's proximity to the region Plato described as the home of Atlantis adds to speculation that survivors, if they existed, could have shared their astronomical and architectural expertise with early Egyptian builders. Although Atlantis remains the most iconic lost civilization, there are many ancient sites that provide undeniable proof of human innovation and advanced engineering. These locations reveal how past societies adapted to harsh environments and constructed remarkable structures that continue to challenge traditional historical timelines. One of the most extraordinary examples is Derinkuyu, an underground city hidden beneath present-day Turkey. Derinkuyu is a massive subterranean complex carved into the soft volcanic rock of Cappadocia. Descending roughly 85 meters below the surface, it could shelter thousands of people. Its intricate layout reveals an impressive level of planning and engineering. With 18 layers of tunnels, Derinkuyu contained everything needed for long-term survival, including living spaces, storage chambers, schools, markets, wineries, and even a church at its lowest level. This underground refuge was designed to support a large population for extended periods of time. Estimates suggest it could house as many as 20,000 people. The builders installed a sophisticated ventilation system made up of more than 50 air shafts to keep fresh air flowing throughout the city. A deep well provided water, and each entryway could be sealed by enormous stone doors weighing over half a ton. These doors could only be operated from within, offering strong defense against invaders. The layout of Derinkuyu reveals that protection was a central concern. Tight passageways forced intruders to move in single file, making it easier for defenders to hold strategic points. The ability to close off the entire city from the inside suggests its inhabitants were threatened by significant outside dangers. Historians have long debated who constructed Derinkuyu. Some attribute the underground city to the Phrygians in the 8th century BC, while others believe the Hittites, who occupied regions of Anatolia more than 3,000 years ago, were responsible. But some researchers argue the origins may stretch even further back. They propose that Derinkuyu could exceed 10,000 years in age, placing its construction in the same era as Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest known megalithic site. Many underground cities in Cappadocia were most likely constructed as safe havens during periods of invasion and conflict. Yet some researchers propose that Derinkuyu may have had an entirely different purpose. Considering its possible age, some believe it was created as a refuge from a major natural catastrophe rather than human threats. As the last ice age ended, the planet experienced extreme climate changes, rising oceans, and widespread environmental upheaval. It's possible that the people who built Derinkuyu were attempting to shield themselves from an unpredictable and rapidly changing world. But Derinkuyu is only one of many subterranean complexes in the region. Over 200 similar underground settlements have been identified across Cappadocia. Many of them are connected through long passageways stretching for kilometers, forming a wide underground network. In 2014, researchers uncovered yet another enormous underground city beneath the town of Nevşehir. Early findings suggest it might even surpass Derinkuyu in size. reinforcing how advanced ancient underground engineering may have been. Because there are no surviving written records explaining who built these cities or why, our understanding remains extremely limited. For some, this lack of documentation hints at incredible antiquity, implying that these structures might predate the earliest known writing systems. Yet without concrete evidence, the true identity of their builders and the original purpose of these vast underground complexes remain a subject of debate. Another astonishing ancient location lies in modern-day Lebanon. This settlement, known as Baalbek, has been inhabited for thousands of years. Today, it is famous for its massive Roman temples dedicated to Jupiter, Bacchus, and Venus. But beneath these monumental ruins rests something far older and more mysterious: the megalithic foundations upon which the city was built. These foundations consist of gigantic stone blocks, among the largest ever quarried or used in construction. Baalbek's occupation stretches deep into prehistory. Archaeological discoveries show that people lived in the area at least 9,000 years ago, during the Neolithic era. Over time, it developed into a major spiritual and cultural hub. The earliest large-scale structures are believed to have been constructed by the Phoenicians, who worshipped Baal, the deity from whom the city likely took its name. When the Greeks later arrived, the settlement became known as Heliopolis, or City of the Sun. After Alexander the Great's conquests, the region fell under Greek influence, and the site retained its religious importance. But it was under Roman rule, beginning in the 1st century BC, that Baalbek underwent its most dramatic transformation. The Romans erected enormous temple complexes on top of earlier foundations, turning the city into one of the grandest religious centers in the empire. These earlier foundations are built from colossal limestone blocks, some estimated to weigh over 1,000 tons. The most famous trio of stones, known as the trilithon, measure roughly 20 meters long, 4 meters tall, and around 1,200 tons each. These massive blocks were carefully shaped and fitted together with extraordinary precision, without a trace of mortar, forming a raised platform later utilized by the Romans. No definitive explanation exists for how these stones were transported or placed. There are no ancient writings describing the process, nor any remains of ramps, machinery, or lifting systems. Even the Romans, masters of engineering, chose to build atop the platform rather than attempt to move the enormous blocks themselves. Nearby, an ancient quarry contains stones even more massive. The best-known example is the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, still partially attached to the bedrock and weighing around 1,650 tons. In 2014, archaeologists discovered yet another gigantic block beneath it, estimated at more than 1,800 tons, the largest stone ever identified as quarried by human hands. Their immense scale raises profound questions about how ancient builders managed to extract and maneuver such stones without modern equipment. These mysteries continue to challenge experts today. The absence of a clear explanation for these engineering achievements has given rise to a variety of interpretations. Some scholars attribute Baalbek's construction to familiar ancient civilizations, while others argue that an even older, possibly prehistoric culture may have contributed to its foundations. Local legends weave Baalbek into ancient mythologies. Some traditions claim that King Solomon ordered the platform's construction, while others say it predates the Great Flood, described in numerous ancient texts. Another long-standing belief suggests that giants were responsible for building the site, a theory inspired by the staggering size of the stones. The open questions surrounding places like Baalbek and Derinkuyu pose an ongoing challenge for researchers. With vast portions of the ancient world still buried beneath deserts, forests, and oceans, many mysteries remain unsolved. One such enigma lies beneath the sea: the Yonaguni Monument, discovered off the coast of Japan. In 1986, a diver exploring Yonaguni's southern waters stumbled upon an unexpected sight. Rising from the seafloor, were massive stone formations, stacked and layered in ways that seemed strikingly geometric. Sharp angles, straight lines, flat surfaces, terraces, stair-like features, and what resembled a central gathering area led many to believe they might be looking at the ruins of an ancient city submerged by the sea. News of the discovery spread, prompting extensive investigation. Japanese marine geologist Masaki Kimura led numerous surveys of the site. He identified what he believed to be signs of human involvement: apparent quarry marks, potential carvings, and pathways that appeared deliberately shaped. Based on these observations, he proposed that Yonaguni was once a constructed environment that later sank beneath rising waters. Yet many scientists disagree. Geologists such as Robert Shaw argue that the Yonaguni Formation is natural, shaped by erosion, wave action, and tectonic activity over thousands of years. According to this view, the geometric shapes are naturally occurring fractures and weathered rock layers. One of the biggest questions revolves around the monument's age. Kimura suggested that if the site was built when it was above the ocean's surface, it would have to date back at least 10,000 years, before the end of the most recent ice age. And because Plato described Atlantis as having terraces, steps, and channels, some believe this underwater site might have suffered a fate similar to the legendary lost civilization. Across the globe, a growing number of mysterious ancient structures continue to be discovered. As research progresses, many questions still persist regarding their origins, purposes, and the civilizations that created them. Among the many legendary lost worlds, Atlantis remains the most iconic, but it is not alone. Another mythical kingdom said to be hidden from the world is Shambhala. Shambhala is portrayed in Tibetan Buddhist tradition as a hidden realm of profound wisdom, serenity, and spiritual purity. Unlike the monumental cities built by ancient cultures, Shambhala is described as a sacred paradise that can only be reached by those who have attained exceptional inner understanding. Its leaders, enlightened monarchs, are said to protect secret knowledge capable of guiding humanity during times of turmoil. The Kalachakra Tantra, one of Tibetan Buddhism's most significant teachings, offers the most vivid descriptions of Shambhala. It depicts the kingdom as a radiant land filled with golden palaces, magnificent temples, and lush gardens. The city itself is arranged in concentric circles, resembling the mandalas used in meditation, symbolizing cosmic balance and universal harmony. At its very center stands the grand palace of the ruling king, surrounded by luminous structures crafted from precious materials. The people of Shambhala are said to live in perfect harmony, untouched by suffering or conflict. According to prophecy, a time will eventually come when the world descends into immense disorder. At that moment, the final ruler of Shambhala, the Kalki king, will emerge with a powerful army to defeat the forces of darkness and restore balance to the world. Some interpret this dramatic prophecy as a metaphor for spiritual awakening, suggesting the battle is symbolic rather than physical, a transformation that happens within the human mind and spirit. Although the legend is rooted more in spiritual belief than recorded history, countless explorers and researchers have tried to locate a physical counterpart. Some have associated Shambhala with secluded Himalayan valleys, while others connect it to Agartha, another mythical realm said to exist deep inside the earth. Unlike Shambhala's spiritual depiction, Agartha is described as a vast underground world, linked by an enormous network of tunnels stretching beneath entire continents. Some interpret it purely as symbolism for inner awakening, while others think it may reflect memories of an ancient hidden culture long lost to time. Regardless of its true nature, the tale of Shambhala has fascinated powerful individuals throughout history. Among them were members of the Nazi regime, who became obsessed with uncovering ancient, forbidden knowledge. Between 1938 and 1939, the Nazis launched a formal expedition to Tibet. Led by scientist and explorer Ernst Schaefer, the mission operated under direct orders from Heinrich Himmler, one of the most influential figures in Nazi leadership. Himmler was heavily invested in occult ideas and believed ancient traditions held insights into the origins and supposed superiority of the Aryan people. The Tibetan mission was conducted by the Ahnenerbe, a Nazi research organization dedicated to finding evidence of Germany's ancestral past. This group carried out studies in anthropology, archaeology, and mythology, often distorting findings to support ideological narratives. Schaefer's team, including zoologists, geologists, and ethnographers, traveled across the rugged Himalayan terrain, documenting Tibetan life, measuring skulls, and collecting artifacts. Beyond their official scientific goals, many believe the Nazis were searching for something far more mysterious, a hidden reservoir of ancient wisdom. Occult beliefs within their leadership sparked the idea that Tibet might hold remnants of a lost civilization that preserved forgotten knowledge. Some accounts even claim they sought entry to Shambhala. In various interpretations of Buddhist texts, Shambhala is not a literal city, but a spiritual domain guarded by enlightened beings. These traditions describe it as a sanctuary of sacred wisdom waiting to be revealed when the time is right. And the Nazis were not the only ones drawn to the legend. Throughout centuries, adventurers, mystics, and secret societies have attempted to uncover Shambhala's whereabouts, each imagining something different at its core. Some believed it offered the path to spiritual awakening. Others theorized it concealed advanced technologies or forgotten knowledge. Despite all attempts, no solid evidence has ever confirmed the existence of Shambhala. While many find theories about ancient civilizations fascinating, whether referencing real locations like Göbekli Tepe or mythical cities like Atlantis, mainstream scholars remain cautious. Their position is simple. None of these sites provide conclusive proof that a technologically advanced civilization existed before Mesopotamia or Egypt. Their primary argument centers on the absence of written records. Throughout history, every known civilization has left behind inscriptions, carvings, or documented systems of communication. If a far older culture had existed, scholars argue that some trace of its language or influence should have survived. Yet no identifiable scripts, trade systems, or cultural markers have ever been linked to such a society. Another major point involves cultural continuity. Civilizations rarely disappear without leaving remnants behind. Even when powerful empires fall, such as the Romans or the Maya, their people survive, carrying forward traditions, knowledge, and cultural traits. Critics argue that if a highly advanced ancient civilization once existed, its practices or technologies should have been inherited by later cultures. However, another perspective suggests that catastrophic natural events could explain the lack of evidence. Earth's past is filled with disasters capable of wiping out entire populations. One possibility is rapid sea level rise caused by melting ice sheets at the end of the Ice Age. Other hypotheses involve geological upheavals. Some propose sudden pole shifts, massive earthquakes, or tsunamis that could have destroyed entire regions. Others suggest major volcanic eruptions or changes in Earth's magnetic field that triggered widespread environmental collapse. If such cataclysms occurred, they could explain why early civilizations only appear in the archaeological record after 10,000 years ago. Rather than being the first societies, Mesopotamia and Egypt might simply be what survived after earlier cultures were erased. Because of this, many believe our understanding of humanity's origins is still incomplete. Some argue that it may take decades before we can fully determine when civilization truly began. As more discoveries emerge, researchers move closer to answering this profound question. Despite the uncertainties of the past, modern technology is helping to bridge the gap between speculation and evidence. With advancements like LiDAR, satellite imagery, and ground-penetrating radar, scientists are uncovering lost settlements buried beneath forests, deserts, and ice. One of the most groundbreaking tools is LiDAR, a laser-based mapping system capable of penetrating thick vegetation. For years, experts believed the Amazon rainforest could not support large populations or organized cities. LiDAR scans proved otherwise. In Ecuador's Upano Valley, researchers uncovered an ancient, hidden urban landscape concealed beneath dense jungle. The scans revealed more than 6,000 rectangular platforms, vast roadways, and intricate irrigation networks, clear evidence of sophisticated city planning. Some platforms were enormous, comparable to modern stadiums, indicating a once thriving, complex society. A similar revelation occurred in Bolivia's Llanos de Mojos, where LiDAR revealed a constellation of forgotten cities. These settlements included pyramidal structures, defensive walls, and elevated causeways connecting various communities, further proving that large populations once inhabited the Amazon basin. While LiDAR exposes cities beneath forests, satellite images are revealing structures buried in deserts and frozen regions. Across Egypt and the Sahara, declassified satellite photos show geometric shapes hidden beneath the sand. Some researchers believe these formations may represent the foundations of ancient temples or pyramids, potentially older than those at Giza. More analysis is needed, but they hint at a possible lost chapter in Egypt's early history. Similar anomalies have been discovered in Central Asia. Satellite scans of Kazakhstan and Mongolia show massive earthworks and geometric patterns visible only from the sky, suggesting organized societies existed long before their history was recorded. Even Antarctica has drawn attention, with some researchers proposing that unusual formations beneath the ice may represent evidence of ancient habitation. Another major breakthrough in recent archaeology involves fossilized human footprints. At White Sands National Park in New Mexico, scientists uncovered tracks dating back around 23,000 years. This dramatically challenges mainstream beliefs, which long held that humans first arrived in the Americas roughly 13,000 years ago. If these footprints are truly that old, it means humans lived in North America during the last ice age, thousands of years earlier than previously accepted. As discoveries continue to reshape the narrative of human history, the true existence of lost civilizations remains unresolved. Theories about Atlantis and other vanished societies persist, but current archaeological evidence does not confirm their reality beyond myth and speculation. Even so, the search for answers continues. Investigating these possibilities encourages us to stay curious, ask questions, and remain open to what the past has yet to reveal. If you enjoyed this documentary, support us by leaving a like and subscribing for more.